Cloudy Lane, there you are. Probably when he was at the Rally de Grand National, he was favourite. Cloudy Lane. Terrific record. Oh yeah, yeah. Hello, come here, little man. Right, hey, get on my shoulder. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, we're
Come on,
fine.
Babs, get in.
Yeah.
Come on. Get in as well.
Hey.
Let's go to the other side.
Hello, Dad.
Okay.
How
Like that. Yeah, yeah. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, look. Hey, oh, hey, Briggsy.
No, it's Trabolgan.
No.
The boy did brought it, isn't it?
Trabolgan.
Yeah, he wants me as well.
They all want in on you. Thank you. Quiet boy.
The Balkan cat.
Yeah.
Briggsy.
Straighten your knitting up a bit, actually.
Hello, Briggs.
Just straighten your knitting up.
Hey, Briggsy.
There we go.
Hey,
Presentable now.
hello. Hey. How's that for you? Hey, get up. Hey.
There's a blade of grass that you must eat.
Okay. Hey. Hey, hey. Come here. Hey, hey. Hey.
Lovely.
Jay. Lovely, isn't he? Lovely, beautiful horse. Edgy. Great memories. Hello, Briggsy. Great memories, great memories. Well-earned rest. Lovely, lovely, lovely horse. Come on. Hey. Beautiful. Lovely little picture there of where many clothes lays to rest, and some lovely icing flowers just in front of the grave to show you how well we look after him. God bless his soul.
A tribute to the lovely many clouds who died after that extraordinary battle at Cheltenham, but was one of 3 Grand National heroes to race in the silks of Trevor Hemmings, the others, Hedgehunter and Ballabriggs, and lovely to see them enjoying their retirement at his home on the Isle of Man, from where Trevor joins me now. Trevor, thank you so much. Very special, special memories of some true warriors of the sport.
Great, gorgeous. I'm very fortunate because I not only live in what you call a paradise on the island, because I'm in the north of the island, where we're very fortunate. The rainfall is much less than the rest of the Isle of Man. So I enjoy my time in the garden many times, and I can wander around here when many of the people in the south have got their raincoats on. So I'm very lucky.
And lucky to be still surrounded by so many of these horses who've given you and given us so much. What is it, or what was it first, Trevor, about the racehorse, and particularly about the chaser, the staying chaser, that captured your heart?
Oh, well, you go back to the time I worked silly hours. Like, I still get up and do silly hours now, but silly hours at work. And doctor once said to me, you get yourself a hobby. And as a youngster, I used to do a bit of greengrocery deliveries with a horse and cart. So I thought I'd better get myself a horse. So I got one, and it went to Stan Mellor, a man of much fame you'll remember. And a horse called Rebecca, and that's where it all started. And
so was it was that connection from being a young lad with a working horse that really that's what captured your imagination?
Yeah. I mean, you never forget your young years. I mean, my years were much different to the youngsters of today because the horse and cart was the modern transport. The horse and cart was where your groceries and your milk deliveries were. And as a youngster, you get yourself involved with either the milkman or the greengrocer. And I used to go hawking as a kid with a flat cap then, and I used to go 14 and 15, Harry Hindle, the greengrocer, and I used to finish up at Mrs. Smalley's and Golden Hill Lane, and she always had £10 of spuds. There you are. Make sure it was wet because otherwise you want a bit of weight there. So, so it was quite funny, quite lovely, really. A nice youth.
And I guess that's that deep appreciation of not just a horse as a pet, but as the horse as a working animal. And it's a different type of appreciation, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, it were. I mean, the Shire horses and the Shire horses and the Suffolk Punches were famous for the work they did in those days. And quite often you see a Shire pulling a barge along the Leeds Liverpool Canal and things like that. So it's lovely. Yeah, history, and you still need them. And it's just saying we're losing so many. Not many Suffolk Punches around, but we contribute towards that society. I contribute towards the Shire Society because they are important. The family, our kids need to remember them.
They do, and I think your conservation of that is incredibly important for all of us. If animals and horses and nature are one great love for you, and another great love is the institution that is the Grand National. Just tell me about this as an institution. You're somebody with great sporting interests, we know that. What is it about the Grand National?
It was ignited with Fred Pontin when he went off and we were all working, building what was then the Ainsdale Holiday Centre for him. And it was a 70-71 when John Cook rode Specify, and I think Mr. Sutcliffe was the trainer, and Fred came back glowing with, obviously he'd won it. He bought the horse 2 weeks before, and he went and won it, and it was a lovely thing. And you capture it. And then Ginger McCain was up and down to Ainsdale Beach with Churchtown Boy and then Red Rum, and so the world opened up to me, and I was captured from that moment on. Hoping one day I might be able to afford a runner. I think my first runner might have been in 1992, Rubika. And that was my first ever run in a Grand National.
And he was the horse you had with Stan Mellor, Rubika, wasn't he?
He was Stan Mellor then, yeah. Stan Mellor, yeah.
And so, really, is it the Grand National itself that's kind of informed the horses that you've bought and been involved with, these big, robust chasers? Because of
that particular race, and because Liverpool was so near to where I lived at that time, in Chorley, in Lancashire, it was the place to try to get to. And of course, it was unbelievable that you could do that. And the type of horse that had to do that distance. You remember the Beecher's Brook in those days had a 12-foot drop. New money, 4 metres. But today it's 6 feet. It's massively different race. In fact, if you go any lower, it'll be a hurdle race. But at the moment, it's still a good, interesting race.
And you still love it. And we'll talk about Cloth Cap in a minute, Trevor. But I want to take you back to one or two of those horses we saw there in the field with you. And Hedgehunter was the one that really struck me. The way you were interacting with him there, your first Grand National winner. He'll never be able to be replaced in that sense.
He was special. If you remember, he was trained by Willie Mullins, top trainer. He's probably one of the finest jockeys you'll ever know and meet and see in Ruby Welsh. Yeah, Ruby and the family were all there. His mother, his father, his sister, It was lovely. And in the Mullins family with old Paddy there, the dad, and Maureen, the mum, and, you know, Jackie, his wife, and Patrick, the boy. Wonderful day. And it was the old enclosure. It was so special. And he was amongst what you call, it was nostalgic. It was famous. And it was a wonderful experience. And I was able to walk my horse in and come down that long track down to it, which was missing now. It was missing later in life. But there it all was. And it was an experience you could never, you wanted to share with the world because it was so encaptured. We've got to remember one thing about these horses. They're going to experience 70 situations or more from the moment they leave. The first of all is they're up all 40 owners, they go for saddling enclosure. From the saddling enclosure to the parade ring. So the pre-parade ring to the parade ring. In the parade ring comes people. So let's put it, 5 people per horse, 200. 200 people in the parade ring, horses are going round. In comes the trainer, in comes the jockey, up goes the horse. And from that moment on, in this case, Esprit, Bristol de Mer, has top weight from that moment on his back with that jockey. Then from there they go to the pre-parade ring, the one in front of the stands. They go out all the way down. They're out there all the time, and then they come to the start. At the start, they've got the starter. Think about 93, Captain Brown. Twice wrong, last it round the horse's legs. They've got all that to risk. Then they've got to compete with 39 other horses. Will they get round? Won't they get round? And 30 fences. And that's what you're asking of each of those horses and the owners and the trainers. You've got to have a lot of good fortune to do that.
And you put it beautifully, and when you describe it like that, it must seem all the more amazing to you that you've won it twice more with Ballabriggs and Many Clouds. I must ask about Many Clouds, Trevor, because that's a beautiful resting place you've got for him in the Isle of Man. And can there have ever been a horse that's given quite so much in his races for you?
Well, from the moment we got him, and as I said to Michael Marr at the time, when I leaned on the stable door, I was looking at a foal. To me, was Cloudy Lane number 2, and that's why I got them to buy him. And he was a gorgeous, gorgeous horse in the heart of a lion. He gave absolutely everything for me, for the jockey, and for Oliver Sherwood. And when he went to Oliver, I said to Oliver, this horse will make you. I realised Oliver was already successful, but he'd added to his good fortune, and I was delighted for Oliver and his yard and all those that worked with him and for him. And you could not ask for anything more. But I mustn't leave out Ballabriggs either.
No.
Who was a phenomenal piece of machinery. When you look, he was in the first 6 from start to finish. Incredible run. And he knew he was going to win. And he just gave absolutely everything. You can't ask for any more. And, you know, we're fortunate. We got a chance again. But don't rule out the likes of JP McManus, who put a fortune into racing and deserves to win. He's got 3 chances, all up there, all odds, and good luck to him. And Gigginstown, Michael O'Leary and Eddie O'Leary, lovely men. They're there, they're knocking on the door. So you can't rule out anybody. All you can say is, I hope Lady Luck goes with me. I hope I'm fortunate and hope that every horse comes back safe. But I'd like mine to be at the front. There's nothing wrong with that.
Because you are nothing, Trevor Hemmings, if you're not a competitor. And in Cloth Cap this year, not only have you got a horse who appears to have all the right credentials, but everything we know about horse racing says that he's incredibly well handicapped, well treated, and just should go and just about win this race. Does that make the build up to the race for you more intense, more nerve-wracking?
We could say nerve-wracking, but I will give you a little insight into how we got him. I'm at the sales, I think we was at Tats, and he's a 3-year-old. He comes in, and I'm with a man you would know called David Minton.
Yep.
And his group of people, along with Michael Marr. Michael Marr appears by my side and says, I found a horse. He said, "Did such a number?" He said, "Beneficial." I said, "No, I've had enough beneficials, no more." Off he goes, storms off. David Minter said, "You're an unhappy man, that. He's an unhappy man. You better reconsider." And of course, I've got Catherine Revitt with me. Would he be in me here? He's going to be upset. He won't speak. He'll, come on, reconsider. Anyway, up comes the horse, comes in. I said, "Go on, I'll give in. We better buy him then." And we bought him. We bought him because Michael Marr and David Minton said I should do it. What Mick did tell me was that he had old Vic in the dam and he saw it in the horse and he'd like it. And that makes a lot of difference because my men are good at what they do. And particularly Michael, who's helped me find all the horses along with David Minton. And we've been highly successful as a team. So the praise this year goes to Michael Marr. I will not be at that race because of the circumstances of the COVID. I would not like to bring back to the island something that we're trying to keep away. So Michael Marr's my representative. I have a son called Peter. He will be with him. But if they're successful, Michael Marr will collect that trophy on behalf of everybody because he deserves it. And I only hope that we're lucky enough to get it. Just before I came on your programme, I had a lovely phone call. I'm in my office. The phone rings and I pick up and call Sister Ellen, a nun from Ireland, from Kanturk in Ireland, where I always go with a winner, where I always go to the vintage, where we all go and we bring in local people for a meal. I've been to that vintage 3 times. I wasn't sure whether she was ringing me to ask me should she order it for a few weeks' time or not, but just in case she did, she said, "I wish you all the very best. I'm ringing you to say I prayed for you today and I prayed for your success." I thanked her and I was said I'd hope to be seeing her in the near future, but I don't book the vintage this week. I'll have to wait a few days.
It's lovely to know there is so much support and from the right places as well, I might add. I just wanted you to reflect on a conversation we had in the autumn when we spoke about you scaling back your racing interest somewhat and how you feel now that you're here on the cusp of perhaps another famous national victory, certainly with a horse with an outstanding chance. You've had a Cheltenham Festival win with Vintage Clouds, and how amazing was that at the 5th time of asking. Your enthusiasm seems completely undimmed. You've got all those old warriors that we saw in the field. What is the future now, do you think, for Trevor Hemmings and horse racing?
I bought 2 foals last year, so I'm an optimist. So we've got to look forward to what the future does hold. Look, you live for every day. You take the vaccine because you want to continue to live. You don't give up. You go forward. I don't. When the man rings for me, I'll have to go. But he hasn't rung because I've not given my number. But when he gets it, no doubt he will. But for the moment, I'm loving it. And I hope everyone else around enjoys the Grand National and life like they should. I wish everyone well and I wish everyone happiness. And I hope all those people who have been sadly affected by the COVID, I hope that they have some good luck in their future because everybody needs a little for their own safety and for their own satisfaction.
And Trevor, when you made that announcement last summer, at the forefront of your mind was was your own workforce, the people who were finding it really tough through COVID. That was very much what you were considering at the top of your list.
And I've done it previously. I did it a few years ago when we were all affected by the bank crisis. But I'd have to redo it again this time. But it was more severe because COVID's still here. We're still having to look after our staff. We've 360 closed pubs. We've a dozen closed hotels. We've a closed holiday village in Southern Ireland. They all need money. And you know, it doesn't grow on trees, you have to earn it. And that's what we're doing. I see David Yates next year is quiet. What's up with him?
I was wondering how the horse got his name, Trevor, that's all.
Cloth Cap got its name because it was a mare, the dam was Cloth Fair. And I have a lady called Catherine Revitt who rips me day to night. She runs the group of companies we have. She's responsible for all that. And she's also responsible for along with me with the horses. And she makes sure I get to A or B or C or D safely. And she named it Cloth Cap. I have a good friend that was on the Isle of Man, who I must have mentioned to you, because my son Peter used to play snooker with him in his home when he was an older gentleman. He's in a churchyard in Bride, which is a local venue that the motorcyclists all visit when they come over to the island, and he has a cap on his grave, and he's called Norman Wisdom, and he's a cloth cap too. So remember, there's not just me with a cloth cap. He was also a famous gentleman, and a very lovely man he was.
But you, as things stand, Trevor, are the most famous cloth cap wearer. And you will be even more famous if the cloth cap's namesake storms home at Aintree next Saturday. Now, if it starts to look like it's going to happen, Trevor.
Yes.
Because it's happened to you 3 times before, will you be cool, or how will you react watching on from the Isle of Man?
I can leap quite high. I can make a lot of noise. But what I will be doing is planning an eating house when COVID permits. Firstly, in the Isle of Man. Secondly, at the Farrington Lodge, Chorley, Lancashire. Thirdly, the Vintage in Canturk. Fourthly, Chobley in John Joe O'Neill's backyard. And anywhere else you can find a venue to which we can enjoy ourselves. I'll be there.
I don't think you will have any shortage of volunteers to compile a few list of other entertainment venues for you, Trevor.
Well, it's really nice because I've been fortunate to have the Donald McCain and Ginger as the father I knew very well, and Beryl been to many Cheltenhams with me, Beryl McCain, as has many other, Joe Berry, another one, who I enjoy the company of. But my pal in Ireland, Jerry O'Leary, he'll be looking after everything that takes place in Ireland. And I'm sure that Catherine Revitt will look after everything that takes place in the Isle of Man and the UK. And by the time we've done all that, you can rest assured we'll party for the rest of the year.
Trevor Hemmings, thank you so much for your time this morning, and very best of luck next weekend.
Well, we all need it. And look, all I can say is to everyone that's got a horse in the race, good luck to you, and may the best person be successful.
And don't give him that phone number. Don't give him that phone number anytime soon. Trevor, thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye now. Bye.
Trevor Hemmings.